buckle up, because it's gonna be a long ride. It's gonna be a wild ride. Nobody cares, but we're gonna tell you anyways. This is Popcorn Chats. Let's make this episode fucking snappy, because I almost texted you and I was about to be like, do we just not do this?
I mean, I wouldn't have been mad, but also now that we're doing this, let's just get the shit rolling. Your turn to intro.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Popcorn Chats. I'm Katie.
I'm MICHAE.
And this week we are talking about the Obi Wan Kenobi series, the finale. It is now completed, so we're mainly focusing on the finale. And honestly, just one scene in particular that I'm going to talk about, but we will be talking about the series as a whole. I have questions for Michaela that I want to ask her since she is our resident Star Wars stan. And yeah, we're not going to do a check-in unless something has happened to you in the past 10 minutes.
Literally no.
Yeah, so we are just going to get right into it. If you want to know how we are, see last week's episode, because we are recording 2 episodes in one day. So this is going to be a quick episode, but we just want to provide y'all with content and a show that we both watched all the way through. This is one that I ended up, we normally cover like the premiere event of a show on Popcorn Chats, and a lot of times I'll like watch it for that, but then I don't go back and like rewatch the show. So for like The Girl from Plainville or like the 9 Perfect Strangers series, I didn't complete those, so this is the first show in a while that we reacted to the premiere and I watched all the way through. That was solely because my roommate Shelby was watching it every week. She's a big Star Wars fan just like Michaela, so I subsequently I feel like my Star Wars knowledge and kind of love has come a lot from Michaela, and now it's coming a lot from my roommate Shelby. She's been watching the Clone Wars series, the like cartoon version, so I've been kind of watching that and kind of getting into it because the storytelling in that is very good, and it's about Anakin and Obi Wan and Ahsoka, which is a character that I really fucking dig.
She's a badass.
We're talking about Kenobi. So what are your overall thoughts, Michaela? I am curious. Were you satisfied with this series overall?
Yeah, I feel like I should just preface, I don't have any notes for this episode because we only decided that we were doing it like a day ago, and I watched the rest of the show without like having it in mind that we would talk about it on the podcast again. So just a heads up, I have no notes for this, so if it sounds scattered, it's because it is. I didn't prep for this. Overall satisfaction, yes. I personally loved it. I mean, do I love it as much as the movies? No, but I mean, it's a different kind of format than the movies are. I loved the nostalgia that I got of revisiting these 2 characters that were like my childhood and that I just love so much. And I think they wrapped it up well. I think I got what I wanted out of Anakin and Obi-Wan's interactions by like the end of the series. I would say like some of the middle episodes had me wondering, but I do think that the last 2 episodes like wrapped it up really well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's interesting that the Star Wars franchise is kind of, or just like the Star Wars universe is taking the TV route with a lot of these storylines. Like I know Ahsoka is getting her own series, and a lot of like the things that are in the works for Star Wars are series like television. And I agree with you. I feel like this should have been a movie or like a 3-part mini-series or something of that nature. I don't think it needed to be stretched out into 6 episodes. I think it had like 4 episodes worth of content at the most. Do you feel that way at all? Like, do you think this could have been a movie?
Yeah, I definitely think that there was some filler, and even when I think back to, like, the premiere episode, it's kind of like, it feels like there was a lot of fluff. Now, looking back, obviously, like, exposition isn't fluff, but I feel like there was maybe, like, a little too much exposition when you kind of can go into the expectation that the audience already knows the world. But yeah, I think 6 episodes was fine. I thought that it was going to be 8, so I was really starting to get, like, this is going to be too long. So I actually think 6, ended up being good, but it could have been shorter. Like, I don't know about a movie format for it, but I do think like a 3-part mini-series even of like an hour and a half episodes or something would have been good.
I was looking at the little thing on Disney Plus last night of the entire Star Wars series in like sequential order, which I love that they do that. I'm just looking at all of these films and all this content laid out like that, and it's like, this story is so strong and so good. Like the Skywalker story, right, is so strong. And I'm just looking at this content here and I'm like, the execution could have been so much better. Like I just think this character of Darth Vader is so cool. I don't know, just some of the stuff, it's like it could have been done more like epically, I want to say. And there are epic moments and we will get into that. But I just feel kind of like underwhelmed by Star Wars sometimes.
Well, and I feel like with this circumstance, with this show, that maybe you're feeling that way is it's about Obi-Wan. And I love Obi-Wan, but I don't love heroes. And I personally would have much rather have seen a Darth Vader series of like 6 episodes following him. I think that would have been, like, me personally, I would have enjoyed that more. I love the Jedi, but I'm always drawn to the villains, so I would have personally liked to have seen that I do think that maybe that could have been why you had some of those feelings. I don't know. I think overall, like, I'm satisfied with the show, but I'm not obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with moments, but I think as a whole, like, I enjoyed it, and obviously I was very happy that we got it in general, but I will think that it won't be something that I'll rewatch all the time. Like I rewatch the movies so frequently.
I will say I have rewatched the Darth Vader and Obi-Wan fight scene from the final episode. I've rewatched that I think 3 times now.
It's so good.
It's so good. And what you were saying too about like, I think you're so right that like it was just underwhelming because it was following Obi-Wan. Like I think in theory that sounds like such a cool concept, like ooh, a whole thing about Obi-Wan Kenobi, but truly I'm only intrigued by Obi-Wan Kenobi because of Anakin, and I would rather have like an Anakin series that's more of an examination of his character. My thing with Star Wars too, like I was watching, just to kind of prepare better for this episode, I was watching like somebody's recap of this final episode, and they're just like pointing out all the Easter eggs and stuff, and it's like, again, with this with this huge like amazing story, why do we care so much about these stupid Easter eggs, like calling back to the Rebels cartoon or like the fucking, I don't, just like, oh, that ship was in episode 5. Like, do we really? I mean, I know some fans care about that, but for me personally, I'm just like, why? This story is so cool. These characters are so interesting. Why are we, I don't know, maybe I'm being stupid, but I just think Easter eggs are kind of annoying.
I'd have to disagree with you on that. I really like Easter eggs, and I like when you call back, especially when you have such a vast universe now that is Star Wars. I like the Easter eggs, and I do think that, like, yeah, it is a little bit of fan service, but I also think that, you know, things like Star Wars need to have a little bit of fan service, because without that, they wouldn't have even got past the first 3 movies. I like the Easter eggs, and I like as a fan getting to like look for them.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think maybe as somebody who just appreciates Star Wars for the story and really nothing else, maybe that's why it's like lost on me a little bit.
And it's not something that like detracts from the story, because like you didn't even notice them until you watched that recap, right? So it's not like they're distracting. It's just like you would just go on in ignorance if you didn't like see that.
Yeah, exactly. So to me it just comes off as like filler, and it's like, why are we lingering so long on this ship? Like, why is this shot so fucking long? But it's like for the fan service, which I agree is important, because without the fans, this franchise would not be where it is today, that's for sure. Okay, so can we get into really what made this final episode for me so amazing is the duel between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So at this point, Obi-Wan has gotten like all of his powers back, so he's kind of like full force able to compete with Darth Vader, and it is just an epic fight scene. Even since like 2005 when Revenge of the Sith came out, like technology has come so far, and it's so awesome to get to see these characters like duke it out with the upgraded CGI and like technology. I just love the part where Obi-Wan is like throwing rocks at him, and then the moment too where Darth Vader's like flying backwards and he like holds himself into the ground. It's just an epic sparring, like dueling scene.
Mustafar, like the battle of that is easily the best Star Wars battle there is. Hands down, I take no questions. It's just a fact. It's like literally the best battle of all of Star Wars. And I love seeing these two dueling again, but then like it's the same, but it's also different, not in setting, but like in who they are as people, because as Darth Vader points out, Anakin Skywalker is dead and there is only Darth Vader now. I actually think it's funny that you say that the CGI has progressed, because actually I feel like that's one of the things that I don't like as much in the show, is that like their CGI budget is so much lower than in the movies. So like when I think about like even in not the Last Jedi, not the Force Awakens, with the Rise of Skywalker, the most recent like Star Wars movie with like within the Skywalker trilogy or Skywalker saga, I think the CGI in that is like so much better than in this show, which is fair.
Oh,
like obviously very different budgets and stuff. I don't think this battle was as dynamic, obviously, as the Mustafar one, but I mean they can't top that. So you have to go for more of like the emotional punch, and I think they definitely delivered on it.
Have you heard of the fan theory that Darth Vader actually believes that he killed Anakin Skywalker?
No.
There's this like fan theory that Darth Vader like actually believes that he killed Anakin, that he wasn't Anakin, like he is just so like mind warped by hate and like anger and fear and everything, like detached and made himself like two different people. And I like how this doesn't change that, doesn't negate that theory at all, because the line like you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did, is super interesting and chilling. I want to rewatch this scene now. And you know, in New Hope, when Obi-Wan is like, he killed your dad, just that whole story and how that gets kind of lost in translation. I just find that very interesting, because Darth Vader did kill Anakin, but Anakin never was really gone. He was always there. Mm-hmm. But in a way, you know, Darth Vader did like overtake. It's just a fan theory. I'm not saying I believe it.
No, I know, that's just interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I buy that.
Okay, well, the part I really want to talk about is when Obi-Wan comes down on Darth Vader and cuts out a piece of his mask, and it's the first time that Obi-Wan is seeing Anakin since their little falling out. Mm-hmm. Their big falling out.
Their little falling out.
It's emotional, and I think Ewan McGregor does such a great job of like encapsulating that emotion that Obi-Wan is feeling in that scene, and just like glimpsing your friend that you thought was dead for 10 years and then now finding out that he's alive, but like the mask kind of separates and he is this evil person, but then seeing his face, it's like it's still him, you know. It is Anakin.
And I think too in this moment, it's from the outside, Obi-Wan looks at it and is like, Anakin, what have you made yourself into? You know, like it's this whole new persona from the outside. But then when he sees Anakin / Darth Vader on the inside, he almost sees like what his part in that and like what he actually did to him by leaving him to burn there. So I think there's that like extra level of shock value, not only like on who this evil person is and that you're seeing someone who was your best friend and that they're not who they used to be, many reasons, physically and mentally, emotionally. Just every single part of them is unrecognizable to you. And then I think when you're looking at it from the outside of him underneath a mask, it's easy to still picture Anakin of who he remembers him as on the inside. And then when he sees that, it's like, oh, he really is gone. And I think then when he says like, goodbye, Darth, like that's him truly acknowledging like, okay, yeah, there is nothing left of my best friend here.
Yeah, and I mean, this whole series, Obi-Wan is dealing with the guilt of killing Anakin, and then once he finds out that he's alive, he's dealing with the guilt of, like, failing as his master. And I mean, he is failing, or he's grappling with that failure as well, you know, at the beginning of the series and then after he finds out. But just that moment when Anakin is like, I'm not your failure. Like, I chose to do this because it's what I believed and I'm my own person and like this is just reality now. It's such a sinister and heartbreaking moment when just like that smile like creeps across his face and you see like Hayden really in that moment, especially when he smiles, like, but it's such an evil version of him. Like it's not even the Anakin we saw in Mustafar. It's like a completely different entity. Same vessel, but like not even same vessel because he's like half cyborg basically at this point.
Pretty much.
But it's insane. And I love the lighting, like how the blue lightsaber is kind of illuminating his face. And then when he says, like, you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did, it, like, turns the lightsaber is, like, more red, and his face is more, like, illuminated and red in that moment.
And the voice choice of having it, like, go in and out of Darth and Anakin. Oh, it's done so well.
Yeah, that, I think, was one of the strongest choices, for sure. Because this whole series, I mean, it's cool to see Ewan McGregor back, but it's like, I want to see Hayden Christensen and like, you know, it's cool the flashbacks, like the, you know, their old sparring sessions, whatever, but truly seeing him behind the mask and like in the tank of water with his little hydro aqua therapy, like it's such a new level of this character. That so many people really enjoy.
I so wish we would have gotten a series of him from Mustafa getting like pulled and becoming Darth Vader and everything that he went through over that time and like building this kind of persona and like whole new being that he is. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah, and I guess, like, you and I both are very much more intrigued by the Darth Vader of all of... the Darth Vader side of Obi-Wan's journey, but I guess the other side of this is, like, he's so consumed and bogged down by his failure in being a master to Anakin that he is kind of ignoring the hope that still exists, and Luke and Leia kind of spark that in him. And that's like, you know, a turning point for him when he's able to like break out of the rocks. I like the theme of hope, how Leia kind of like symbolizes that hope.
I think that's what Star Wars is built on. When you look back through every single story in Star Wars, there's always like that bit of hope, whether it's a person or an idea or a group of people, there's always that thread. And I don't think there's been a time in Star Wars where like all hope is lost. I mean, obviously, yes, in like certain battles, it's like all hope is lost, but is there really ever a moment where there's not hope? I don't think so.
Right, yeah. Or the characters might just not be aware that there is something to hold on to. But yeah, I think it's definitely like a common, in any story, there's always got to be hope. In any underdog story, like the Hunger Games is all about like hope and just hoping that good will prevail. Same with like Game of Thrones. We hope that Daenerys will fucking figure her shit out, but apparently we were wrong to hope that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm literally going to go rewatch this scene now because it's so fucking good.
It's so good. It really is. I loved seeing these two characters interact again. And like, was this show needed? No, but I did like it wasn't necessary and like the whole vision, I think personally, but did I love it and I'm grateful to have had it? Yeah. And also I loved Reva. I know we like didn't really touch on her much because obviously like the focal point for both of us is Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, but I did really like her.
Yeah, it's interesting. I did kind of anticipate that she was a youngling that was like, but I didn't think that she was going to be like going after Darth Vader. I felt like that storyline was a little bit weak just because it didn't make a whole lot of sense. I think it could have been, I love her character, but I think it could have been a bit stronger, like the execution of all of it with her actually wanting to kill Darth Vader too. Like, I think it would have been cool if Obi-Wan helped her get to that place and it's like, my enemy is also your enemy and you're on the wrong side, and he kind of like helped her flip back to the light. I would have liked that better, but that's just me. And I guess she's also getting her own spinoff.
Ooh, that's gonna make the racists mad because all that fucking backlash that she got for the initial premiere, it was
really?
Like, yeah, did you not see all of that? It was horrible.
Really?
Like the response that she was getting online, that Ewan McGregor like straight up made a post, like made a video about it of saying like how happy he is to be back, but if you're not like supportive of Reva and this actress, then you're no Star Wars fan of mine. And I was like, fuck yeah. Like, you're watching a show with aliens in it and you're like mad about having a person of color in it. Fuck off.
That literally makes no sense. I didn't even know that was happening, but I'm not surprised, unfortunately.
Especially when you think of like who Star Wars fans, like what a lot of like men Probably a lot of fucking white men. Anyways. But yeah, I'm very glad that we got it. I will obviously take any Star Wars content within the Skywalker saga that we will get because I feel like it is running out and that makes me sad. Unless they're like going back and revisiting things. My personal pitch for next show, I would love to see Kylo Ren becoming Kylo Ren. I would love to see him at training with Luke and then becoming Kylo Ren. I don't think we'll ever get that. I think Adam Driver has deuced out, but I would love to see it. But I would love to see Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor back. Like, if they ever did something again, I don't think Obi-Wan's getting a second season. I don't think it needs it. But I would love, like, in any capacity, I guess, to just always see these two reprise these roles. Because I do think that, oh, okay. They just, like, threw dog shit across the yard. But I think they were throwing it into their yard. But I do love to see them come back and see them be appreciated coming back. Because, I mean, obviously, I was too young to be a part of, like, the fandom when I was younger, when I was in, like, 5th grade seeing this. I just saw this and was like, this is amazing. But I know that, like, especially Hayden Christensen got, like, ripped apart by fans, and I think Ewan McGregor, too, like, just this prequels in general were just so shit on, and I think over the years the appreciation for them has really grown, so I am happy that like they got to come back and be appreciated for the work that they did with this franchise.
Yeah, that's good too, and I agree with you. I just love any like character examination, and I will literally take any character examination on Darth Vader or, like you said, Kylo Ren. I think would be very interesting. We don't need hero examinations.
No.
I guess they're just like not as interesting, but whatever.
I think Star Wars is known for known about like heroes though, but you know, heroes they're not as fun.
Yeah, they're not. I
they
just
don't
am
dress
so
as cool.
I'm so fascinated by the character of Darth Vader. So
me too. I think he's like one of the best characters of all time. I would say probably my favorite character of all time.
Alrighty.
We will see you next week for Game of Thrones Season 6 coverage.
Yay, Lilas.
Lilas.